Hey guys, I'm Jenna Lynch and an artist who has a business mind coupled with a competitive spirit of an athlete. It's a strange combination that makes me act like a dog on a bone who will never give up on anything until the job is done. My message here today is of hope. My Lord and Savior Jesus Christ has groomed me for one thing since birth, and only one. I have no choice but to walk that path. And I have been a faithful journeyman my entire life, studying and learning my trade. And it is just now that I am ready to prove myself a master. It is to this point that I will speak to you today. I have opened a business here called the PaintedArtist Art Cave and Interactive Garden. And it is my hope that everything that's in that interactive garden will point to hope, will point upward. And so we will be talking about that. It is with or without your help that, because I simply have no choice but to build it, that is the message that needs to be told. And God has prepared me to do that, it seems, here in Ruidoso. I think He has found me approved and ready to advance on that front line without any more hesitation. I can't express my gratitude enough for you guys allowing me to come out and speak with you about that today. This is about a journey that I have no doubt that anybody who is involved will both benefit and be profitable. I believe my journey here is my last one. It's my last rodeo around this our beautiful planet Earth. And it is my charge to be of benefit, of great benefit to our amazing community. As I attempt to put into words, words do elude me. I don't believe I've seen what I'm attempting to do before. So I think I'm going to have to start a little bit from the beginning of my journey just so that you'll understand my background and understand what brought me here to you today. I'm going to try to be brief and to the point about that, but by all accounts, I was a very advanced young toddler. I could do things way before other kids my age could do. I also came out of the womb doing artwork, writing stories that really no one could read, but I would make them pop-up books, and I was very interested in storytelling and artwork. Just how everybody had high expectations for me until first grade came. In first grade, my teacher was convinced that I was smart enough to do this work, but that I just was not interested in doing the work. And so her way of dealing with that was to you beat me with hangers and put me in a closet. A closet is where I spent a lot of my time contemplating just how bad I was for that first year. By my second year, that teacher was sweet, but she was absolutely clueless. But at least she didn't beat me, so that was a nice treat. And, the damage was done by this point. They had totally convinced my family that I was arrogant and didn't want to learn. It didn't help that I asked why at every turn. It drove people nuts. Why is red red? Why do we call it that? Why is the sky blue? All of these things that it seemed impossible for people to answer me. I would even ask my father, why does 2 cookies at nighttime? Why not 4? I really wanted to know, not trying to be rude. I just wanted to know, why can't I have 4? Of course it was because of my health or whatever. It's not good for you. But at the time I didn't know that. I just wanted to know. Didn't come across that way. Okay. So by the 3rd grade, it's really funny how God has a hilarious sense of humor. By the 3rd grade, he introduced me to my 3rd grade teacher, Mrs. Hammer, who was the finest lady in the whole world. And she introduced my family to a lady named Miss Louise Shaw. Miss Louise Shaw is almost 100, and we are still in contact today because this woman truly did change my life. It was her that told my family that I had an extremely high IQ, that I was creatively gifted, but I was severely dyslexic. And in the 60s, and she even said, there's not going to be much that this public school system is going to be able to do for this child, but no worries. And it was behind her that she had all these reel-to-reels Y'all don't even know what a reel-to-reel is, I'm sure. It's before an 8-track, it's before a cassette, it's before Blu-ray and CDs and all of that stuff. These things were giant, but she was just tons of them, all behind there. And my father looked at her. It just so happened that my father was praying for guidance. He was in a church that he wasn't learning much, and he just said there has to be something more to all of this than that. And he saw these reel-to-reel, and she says, yes, that's Colonel Bobby Thiem, and he's out of Houston. And he teaches and studies the Bible in its original languages. And this is all of his tapes. Would you like one? And, of course, my father said, well, yes, I would. And so I heard Bible doctrine in the back of a car as we were vacationing. I heard it coming out of his bathroom my entire life. And as a little girl, of course, it's just blah, 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 blah. But something will always come in loud and clear, and that's the gospel. And he would just, Colonel Thiem repeated it at the end of every one of his sermons. It's just between you and God. In this moment, you simply say, I am now believing in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He died for our sins, and you are not perfect, but He is, and blah, blah, blah. Just accept it. And I did at a very, very young age. So it was very grateful after all that trauma that my mother finally said something very important to me. She said, Jana, you just have to pass. And of course, in my usual way, it was like, why do I even have to do this at all? And she said, so that you don't ever have to do it again. And that was the greatest thing my mother could have said to me. She found any excuse in the world to get me out of school as often as she could. But I did study every night very, very hard and to make C's and D's, and that was just the best I could do. I was behind the whole time, and I never got to take electives like most kids until my final year in high school. And it was there that I took art, and up to that point I had really just had a pencil in my hand. Guys, that's how how hard it was for me just to keep up. And so, and I met my high school counselor, and of course he's looking at his papers on me, and he says, yeah, this college isn't probably not going to be good for you. And he said, but I have found this school called the Dallas Art Institute. It's about commercial art and graphic design, and that's how far behind I was. I didn't know that artists did, like, say, for example, the Coca-Cola logos. An artist designed that. And ads and billboards. I didn't know about any of that. So, of course, I was just so turned on, so excited. And, of course, I wanted to tell my high school teacher. So I went to my high school teacher and I said, guess what? I'm going to die. And she said, no, you'll never make it. You're too far behind. This is not going to work out for you. I'm sorry to tell you that. Whatever. Of course, I went home crying. My mother says, you know what? Listen, Linda. You need to stop listening to people, I think, at this point. You go do what you want to do. And I believe that's just why I'm probably one of the most competitive people in the whole world, because, I just wanted to prove that lady wrong at this point. Now I'm just kind of mad. Everybody's been beating me up my whole life, and I just wanted to prove her wrong. So I did go to that school. It was very, very expensive. I was probably the poorest kid there, although my family had money. These people were just a lot richer, okay? And I had to work, and 143 of us started, and only 8 of us graduated. I was very blessed that my brother paid for me to quit working for the last 6 months of that so that I could prepare my portfolio. But I pretty much came home with a portfolio I wasn't pleased with. Of those 143, only 8 of us graduated, and I think I was the only one that actually ended up doing art, but it took me a few years. So when I first graduated from school, I opened a business, a salvage business, and this was way before the internet, of course, and I bought out businesses that were going out of business, and I would sell that merchandise on pennies on the dime. So this was brand new merchandise. These businesses were just going out of business, so that's what I did, and I was pretty brilliant for a 20-year-old. Did that for a few years. And then my cousin, Valerie, she said, Jana, listen, there's a job opening over in the art department, and you really need to apply for that. And I said, honey, I can't. I'm too embarrassed. Of course, I wasn't even that confident. I don't know what I said. I said, I can't show my portfolio. And, up to that point, I've just been told how bad I am at everything. So I had zero confidence. In fact, it took me many years to overcome that. So keep that in mind with kids today. Don't beat them up like that. Who cares? Even if I did fail, it's what I was wanting to do, and someone, my teacher should have backed me. But they didn't, and so it was very hard for me to show my portfolio. And Valerie said, listen, you're good enough. You're going to have to finally trust somebody and just go show your portfolio. And I did, and she hired me instantly. It was no big deal. And I got to illustrate for the society section. This was before, when it was cheaper to hire an illustrator than it was to run a real photo in a newspaper. It was very, very expensive to do that. So illustrators were cheaper, and I got to illustrate, and I got to work with Dirk West. You guys remember him? He would do all the college football conference illustration or animations. And I got to cut color, became a surgeon with Amberliff and cutting color, and he would tell me what percentages, and he would want his cartoons, and I got to do all of that. So Avalanche Journal was my first graphic job, and I just, of course, loved it. I got to do art. It was just so great. Then I applied for a job in Fort Worth at Color Tile, and I was all the way in Lubbock, and she had 200 applicants, she told me, and she chose me and moved me all the way from Lubbock to that job, which gave me a lot of confidence, by the way, that someone would think I was great enough to do that over all those other people. And I illustrated, of course, room scenes and tiles, different shapes of tiles and colors of tiles and all that stuff because, again, cheaper to hire me. There was banks of us that did it, rooms full of us artists that did that. And I did that for a couple of years, and then I moved to my greatest job, which was Harris Methodist Health Systems there in Fort Worth and Dallas, or I think it's all just Fort Worth area. And I worked my way all the way up to a commercial art director, where I hired teams and teams of people to work with me, including writers and TV producers and radio voiceovers and all that stuff. I got to do it all, and my team came up in a whole new light. It was Jeff Colby that came up with that, and it was healthcare in a whole new light in my case. Jason Robards was my voiceover. And back then, you just paid a fortune for TV, anything. And I think I paid him $140,000 for 40 minutes of his time, which is pretty amazing if you think about it for back then. That would have been in like 91, somewhere in there. Okay, so anyway, everybody picked up on healthcare, or no, health in a whole new light. See this in a whole new light. Everybody picked it up. And my husband could tell. Well, I forgot to tell you that in the middle of my career, I married the greatest guy in the world in 1994. And thank God, he's just always supported this goofy me his whole life. And thank you for that, honey, because I've been quite an adventure. And of unsuredness and where we're going to go next, what we're going to do. But he could tell I was getting the Monday night blues. And in 1998, he would let me, or the Sunday night blues, because I didn't want to go to work, he let me come home. And I never had to make a phone call. My phone rang. They knew me because of healthcare in a whole new light, and because I knew all the printers in town and everything. And I just had all I could eat work sitting right there. And then in 2005, I asked my husband, can we move to Las Vegas so I could spend my mother's, get to know my mother a little bit. And that's where she lived. And so she said yes, and I was able to lay that business down. And I kind of laid art down entirely. I was sick of doing art for somebody else. I painted here and there, but really never had the room for it or the setup for it. So I got involved in network marketing, and this is where I learned to speak in front of large quantities of people and get them excited and involved. And so that was really great. But on my mother's, when we knew she was going to pass away, she looked at me and she said, Jenna, you really need to get back in your lane. And it was at that time I said, Mother, I think I'm going to go back and study fine arts this time. I'm going to go back to school. And I was scared, of course, to even contemplate something like that because of my dyslexia. I didn't even know there was continuing education, and when I knew that, I just went for it. And I studied all kinds of art, every kind of art you could ever imagine. I didn't get a degree in it because I didn't want to hire tutors to help me through English and math and all that stuff. I could care less about any of that, but I got to study. And it was there that I met all of these young artists going into this as their major. And I thought, how are they going to make a living doing fine arts? I could have never fathomed that as a young girl. My family would have just gone nuts. They said, no, you're not going to be able to make money doing that, and that's a long shot thing, and da-da-da-da-da. But here were just all these kids going for it. I thought, I'm going to help them. I asked my husband, I said, can I open a little locals-only gallery for these kids? And he did. He reached in his pocket, and he opened me up on down on the end of the strip and going into downtown. A company called janasredroom.com. Now, go out to janasredroom.com. I did a little TV series there briefly. It failed miserably, but I know why it failed, and I believe that something like this might work here, and it's something that we can all be involved in, and I'm very excited about it, but I'm not prepared to speak on that today. But if you just kind of want to go see a failed attempt at that, that's the greatest thing about me. I am willing to fail. Okay, you can't succeed unless you are willing to fail. And so in this case I did, but I know why, and I think we could possibly do it here, and I think it'd be really awesome. So go out to janasredroom.com. By the way, I've been blogging since 2005, so everything I've ever done is out there. You can also find it now under PaintedArtist.com. But punch it in the little search episode 1, and you can take a look at that, and we will talk about that at some point. All right, that brings us to the future. My husband said we're moving here. I had to sell my home, never was going to leave Vegas, shut my gallery down, which was finally profitable. My husband reached in his pocket for years to keep that thing running. And finally, it was going well, and it was just shocking to me. But I'm so glad now that we're here. This is it's an amazing opportunity, and my husband's amazing, so he deserves that. Now, to get here, though, I thought I was going to open another locals-only gallery. I got here, you had all the galleries we could eat, and y'all are doing an exceptional job at it. That's not what you needed. What I realized after I sat and contemplated, and I did that at Sacred Ground. I owe them a great debt of gratitude because I painted rocks there and got to know this community, and it was a wonderful thing. And I volunteered at the high school, and again got to know the community. And I realized you guys don't need another gallery. What you need is something to do. And I know we got the racetrack and that kind of thing, and the skis, but I wanted something that you guys could come and do, and bring your kids and do. And so I opened the Painted Artist Art Cave and Interactive Garden, and now this is a very faceted business, and so this is where my words get weird. I do know that I do not want to represent 230 local artists. I'm ready to do art now, so I'm going to represent about 12 of them. Carla Morrow is my first one. I don't know if you know her, but she does the dragons. They've turned her artwork into plushies. She's got thousands and thousands and thousands of followers. She's an exceptional example of an artist that took fine arts and kind of turned it away. It's very commercial. She's amazing. I would like to support her. I'd like 11 more of her. And for each one of them, I would like for them to do a giant art installation. Now, I've started the first one, and it's called the Peace Garden, and it has a tree in it where you paint a butterfly in honor or in memory of a loved one. Anybody can come do that, and I hope the entire community does it. I've told you what I thought we had in common as business owner, and that is when your customers walk in, they all ask, what else is there to do? I would really hope that you feel it important enough, what I'm trying to do, to tell them about me, thepaintedartist.com, after you've told about skiing and all the other things that you do. Come and see the peace tree that the entire community has made. It's in honor of a loved one, and you can come paint one. All right, that's the first installation. Now, Carla will take that tree, and she's going to do these giant butterflies that turn into dragons, heading over to a river that me and Jay Thomas are building. He's an author in town. And we got our mineral rights, and we are building this rock river that runs through the fence, and there'll be a painting there like a cave that runs into the interactive garden, and it will be painted, and this thing should be gorgeous. And there, see, you got Russ, who owns Bad Sheep Yard Care. He's going to donate a grass chair. He's going to build his chair out of grass, and I'll probably want to put wings on it or something, but you're going to be able to sit and have your take an Ussie. Now, see, this is where it's important. The Amarillo, in Amarillo, you can go to a place called the Cadillac Ranch, and people paint these Cadillacs, and they're hashtagging. It's really, really cool. It's something fun for the people to do, and so they go and do it. The interactive garden will be that kind of thing. You will be able to paint on giant coloring books or interact with these wonderful art installations. My personal installation will be the Grace Pipeline. I got permission from Baraka Church to paint that concept, and I will be doing it. And there's an illustration here. You can look at it. It's expensive. Not really, though. I just need some paint and some scaffolding so that I can do that. That is what I'm talking about. So, for instance, your city councilman, Joe Eby, has donated tile. He owns a tile company, and he's going to help me build a patio for the Peace Garden. Well, what Joe's going to get in return is a free advertisement for that. It's going to be a beautiful sign that I make for him, and it'll be pointing back to his business. It's Carla Morrow. If someone sponsors her, it would be sponsored by Sherman Williams by Carla Morrow. And let's say Sherman Williams says, yeah, I'll give you some paint for that. And they get a credit for that. Now, the more traffic we drive here, the bigger these art installations can be and the more hashtags and that kind of thing we can get. And just keep in mind, it will be all about hope. Hope. Nothing strange, nothing weird, a simple concept of hope. And that's what I want to see going on back here. So, now, Carla will do these, like I said. She will develop a product that I would like to identify about 8 art apprentices who will come work with me to reproduce these products, because I'm smarter than the Cadillac wrench in the ways we got an exit through a gift shop. So these products will match your experience out in the interactive garden. And so I am looking for 8 art apprentices. Now, these can be kids like me coming into fine art school that need an outlet, need a place to give resume fodder. Or they can be people that have raised a family, that were artists, that had to go to work, and they haven't been able to paint very much in their life or do their art because of other obligations, that are now retired perhaps and ready to go to work. We're going to teach sweat equity and residual income. I have no money to pay these people. But if they come go to work, when we sell it, they will earn, and it'll keep coming, okay? And the brand on that, by the way, is called Hello from Ruidoso. It's going to be very fabulous. But it's going to match these interactive experiences that you're having, okay, in that garden. And then when you're done out there, you'll exit through the gift shop. There will be all the products by these 12 artists who have developed these products, and then my interns that have, or my apprentices that have developed these products, along with some of their artwork on the wall and the 12 people's artwork on the wall. It's going to be fabulous. Then, like I said, you can sit down and make art. Master copy me. I've developed all these little paintings that you can come master copy me. And I didn't know this until I moved here. I'm good at this. I guarantee you, you will leave here with a painting you're happy to give as a gift, because I can see instantly where you've gone awry and get you right back on track and make you very happy about your painting. And so it's a great feeling, guys. It affects your serotonin levels. Bring the kids down and paint toys or whatever. We will be having events and that sort of thing over time, but I'm just now launching this thing. So that's pretty much what we're doing, guys. We're talking minimal amounts of your advertising dollar here to sponsor a program. Carla's, we need $500 to buy supplies and paper mache and that kind of thing. She's going to do the labor for free. But if you're interested or already have some of the supplies laying around, we'll get your name on it. It's a free advertisement. It'll be a sign. It'll be beautifully painted. And it'll be an art installation that I hope that you'll be pleased to send your customers to. And guys, I've probably gone over my time. And so I want to thank you so much for your time today. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And as this develops more, I hope to talk to you again about it. All right, make it a great day.